It's recording. All right. It's recording? Yeah, it's recording. What's going on, family? It's the entertainer, the motivator, the educator, Lucky Murray. And I got another artist interview. I had to get her because she's blowing up right now. She's been blowing up for a while. Man, and it's low key. I have never seen an artist blow up low key. And she won't tell us any details. We won't see no videos. We can't see faces or whatever. So we did an interview last year, so I had to bring back one fire hot artist, DaShawn Shauntà. DaShawn, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. How are you doing, Lucky?
Oh man, if the quarantine was any longer, I'd go crazy. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing straight.
Well, you might get your wish.
Yeah. No, I'm doing good, man. I think that this quarantine has showed me a lot. I've been definitely grinding with Christian hip hop now, and just really taking time to really examine the whole culture that we call Christian hip hop. And I'm good, man. God is good. We still breathing. We still got food over here, toilet paper. Hey, we good. Toilet paper, paper towels. Hey, we ghetto rich right here.
Rich.
So
I understand. Yeah.
So talk a little bit about why I have you here. How has the quarantine treated you as far as, I know you dropped 29, that was in February 29th, and we haven't heard anything after that. So talk a little bit about what's been going on with the music, what's been going on in real life as far as job-wise, to get into how the quarantine been treating DaShawn Shauntà.
Well, first, I guess I'll talk about real life. I'm actually prospering like a lot during this quarantine phase. And I know it's, for some people, that might be weird because I'm seeing so many stories about, people losing jobs, people not having this and not having that and lacking that. And my reality is like a complete opposite. Like, my money is growing, my career is being, everything that maybe what that was moving before the quarantine, but at a slower rate.
Yeah.
Literally, since the quarantine happened, it's like God exploded, like accelerated it, like triple, 100,000 times. And it's not just me. My whole entire family, like we all have stories about, man, this is happening and that is happening. Like my mom's real estate business, she's still selling houses.
Wow. Hey, you can still sell a house in the quarantine. You're doing great. You're doing real great.
Right. And it's not just about that she's selling them, but almost every day she gets a new client.
Wow.
It's amazing because there'll be times that I'll be upstairs and I'll hear her downstairs. She'd be like, woo, just start like shout, do something. I'm like, what is going on? And she's like, oh, I got another client. I just go, that's not surprising, like that's God. My little brother, he's getting a promotion on his job. It's just so much. My family, God is really keeping us. And so I not to say that I don't feel for the people who are struggling and going through hardship during this time, but I have to say, man, he is really, 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 my family's, it's just complete opposite. Any and everything prosperous and good that seems like it could happen to me during this time is happening. And I thank God for it. So big shout out to God. Big shout out Jesus for
big G-O-D.
Yeah, just because because it's happening in the quarantine, it just lets you know that only God could do it. Because there's nothing I could have done to make any of the stuff that's happening to me happen, because we're shut down and literally can't really leave and go anywhere. It literally has to be God orchestrating this. That's the only thing that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. And you speak about music wise, that's tripling. Talk a little bit about how the music is doing, because I'm gonna preface this, a lot of artists out here struggling. We've seen a lot of people who are releasing are not necessarily seeing the success that they thought they was going to do during the quarantine, because they was like, look, everybody's at home, let me release. But newsflash, everybody's releasing because everybody's at home. So talk a little bit about your music.
Well, first thing, let me talk about, God did bless me to sign a deal.
Uh-oh.
Can't say with who yet.
Oh, God. Oh.
Can't
So
say with who yet, because, I gotta, I want to give them respect because of, with most labels, not all the time, they have rollout plans and stuff that they want to do, kind of introduce you, like a coming out, like, hey, a brand new artist. And so, I'd never want to step on any toes. So if that's the case, that's the case. But one thing I can say, since my next song is coming out, like 12, if we're doing this, we're not going to be waiting very long, clearly. Like, that's what, 30 days?
Yeah. Yes, you was breaking up. You was breaking up when you said the release date. I don't know if the enemy don't want you to say the date.
I'm saying, yeah. You did freeze up on just like June 12th.
June 12th
is when it's coming out. So if y'all can be patient, 30 days, it will all be revealed in due time. I believe it.
Wow. So this record label, I know you can't get into any details about that. We want to respect the record company as well. But is this like a publishing deal? If it's like a distribution deal, is it like a straight label deal? Is it an indie? Is it a major?
Man, well, I'll say it like this. Obviously, God is blessing me to link with, in the top two is probably fair to say, top two CHH labels. So that's a good game. Top two labels in the game. And so that's a big hint, I guess.
I think I know where you're going at with this. And this is awesome. So let me ask you this: why sign a deal? You was buzzing as an independent artist. You was doing your thing. Why sign a deal?
It's like you said, there's different types of deals, and the deal that I'm doing, the way I look at it is really like a partnership, because God, He worked it out to where I retain my ownership. So, which I think is a really big deal nowadays, maintaining ownership. Because some record labels, and this is not talking about the one that I signed with, because all my dealings, they have proven themselves to be true to their word. And so I believe because they do what they say they're gonna do, God honors that, and God blesses them to be prosperous. So the deal that I got, it lets me maintain my ownership. It's fantastic. I still get to have a lot of creative freedom. The record label basically put themselves in a position to be a help and a benefit to me. I mean, I think at one point in time I was like, man, this is like amazing. Like, what do y'all get? What are y'all getting out of this? And they were just like, hey,
your soul. They're getting your soul.
No, they're like, what we getting out of this is, they're like, we're every artist that we help increase and grow, it just helps us increase and grow the reach of the kingdom. I was like, I appreciate that, because when there's nothing wrong with having a business perspective. There's nothing wrong with that. But at least my opinion, Christian hip hop is a ministry. Some people think that will say Christian hip hop is just purely a business. I'm not going to argue with you on that, because if that's the way you feel about that, ultimately, I can't change your perspective on it. God is going to take Jesus to do it. So I'll just pray that, hey, if you just see it purely as a business, you are still treating people, regardless of whether you're in a Christian genre or not, the way God told you to treat people. It really doesn't matter if you have the Christian label over you or not. You are called to treat people with dignity and respect, all human beings, regardless of any kind of background affiliation that's associated with them. God did not put any kind of, prefaces on any of that. He said to thy neighbor as a blood soul, you love the action, but you do have to love the soul of the person. So I appreciate that. So the deal that I got is, I really see it as a more like a partnership, because I get to have as much input and say so. The label gets to come in, really help me in my areas that I'm the weakest at. And one of the things you already know, we've talked before, I'm not that good at marketing because it is not really my thing, you know, like getting on there and like, hey, y'all go check them out. It's just not my thing, you know. It's just not. And so one of the things the label is definitely gonna help me with is that aspect, which that's gonna have a huge impact just because of that, because that's not a strong area of my, you know. So we're gonna kind of bring our strengths together and find a way to enhance this partnership and propel and help grow, you know, benefit everybody, you know. If I win, they win. If I lose, they lose, you know. So that's what it comes down to. And ultimately, we're trying to do what we can do to give glory to God. So,
Amen. Amen. And congratulations again. I think that this is something that's going to not only help Label X and DaShawn Shauntà and her brand, your brand. I'm speaking like in third, like you're in second person, but it's going to also bring awareness to your music, because I feel like your music has a distinct sound. And I think in Christian hip hop, this is one of my arguments. I felt like in Christian hip hop is not necessarily a genre right now, because nobody has a distinct sound. We all sound like whatever's, it's like a gumbo of whatever is out. And and we as Christians, we love hip hop. So what we do is that we engage hip hop culture through our Christian worldview. And
we're supposed to. Some people ain't.
And I wanted to talk about that.
Hip hop.
But here's my thing. And I think that the 2010s showed us a lot of people's heart within Christian hip hop, because I'm talking to a lot of independent artists, you know, through my platform, Christian Hip Hop Now, and also through my radio station, 44 Radio. And a lot of artists are entitled for what? I don't know. And you spoke about this a lot about people's heart and characters. You also called out a few artists like, look, I'm glad I don't have to censor your music. You know, thank you for keeping your music, you know, pure. So talk a little about that. And you are a fan of Christian hip hop. Like, you engage in the culture even before you were signed to a deal, even before people know you're an artist. You engage in the community. So talk a little bit about I want to say your feelings about how Christian rap is kind of turning, almost in a sense, in a negative light. Yeah.
So it has kind of been like on me kind of heavy that I've been seeing this. I don't want to say trends, because it's not everybody doing it, but my opinion is too many for us to be saying that we are Christian artists. Now, I know that some people might have changed and said, well, I'm just an artist who's Christian. So I guess if you just somebody artist who's Christian, I guess I'm not talking to you. You know?
Yeah.
I'm talking to the people that say, I guess I'm a Christian artist. What I'm seeing is I'm seeing the use of more explicit words and like cursing and profanity on more Christian platforms and Christian artists. I'm not going to say any names specifically, because I could easily be like, this platform, this artist, da.
Hey, Lucky ain't afraid to go on YouTube and call people out, you know.
Well,
I'm not afraid.
It's not even that I'm afraid to call them out. It's more of how I see it is the ones that are doing this, how I see it is a lack of spiritual maturity, that I honestly don't think they're doing it because the way that they're reacting to people saying, hey, you're cursing, you know, like kind of being like, whoa, do you have to curse? To me, it's coming across to me as a lack of spiritual maturity and understanding. I don't think that they intentionally think that they're doing anything that's harming anyone else. So because of that, they're kind of resistant because, I mean, when I was in my super, and some of these people are in their like super young 20s.
Yeah.
So when I was in my super young 20s, which I'm not anymore, but when I was, some of the thought processes that I'm seeing them display, I had too, but the difference is I didn't air it out on social media to the level and content that the generation, I won't say generation because we're like the same generation or just a little bit younger than me. Some of them are doing today. Like they air out everything, talk about everything. And it'll be like, I don't want it to be a situation like Brother Nature where, you know, someone goes through his Twitter, you know, and goes all the way back when he was like, 12 or 13 and brings up some tweets. And he's, you know, changed and working to do something better. And now he's like super, super embarrassed. Because there's scriptures that talk about don't let your good be evil spoken of. So, and there's also scriptures that talk about how having a good name is better than I believe it's rubies or maybe it's diamonds, but it's better to say your reputation is worth more than any kind of materialistic thing that you could have down here on this earth.
Yeah.
So the trend I was saying is just more and more people that I associate and deal a lot with the Christian hip hop genre are using the N-word more in their music. They're using it on like their socials, you know, and I just, to me, I just go, man, my first thought is, well, if I wanted to listen to hip hop that had cursing or the N-word in it, why wouldn't I just listen to regular hip hop? Why would I listen to Christian hip hop, the B or C version? For some artists, they sound like copycats of the original hip hop. Why wouldn't I just listen to the original and hear their stuff? Because their quality of music, their lyrics, beats, production on some of their stuff overall is just better. But I'm choosing not to listen to them because I don't want to hear all of that. And there's a lot of artists who don't want to hear all that. And I was like, man, this is getting ridiculous to the point to where there's sometimes that I was like, this is crazy. I was like, I'm having to censor Christian hip hop. And then the other thing is, if you're like, well, I'm not a Christian hip hop artist, why are you using Christian hip hop platforms? Because I'm coming here because I don't want to be a part of the cursing and derogatory and the degrading and these things. I don't want that. That's why I'm in Christian hip hop. If I wanted that, the other stuff, I would just do regular hip hop. I wouldn't come. I mean, like, I don't know. It don't make sense to me. I think that they think, and what I've heard is, because I had this art discussion with some artists before. He was just like, oh, well, the N-word, he said, it doesn't hurt anybody. It's not a sin. And so I said, okay, I'll go with you on that. I said, it may not be a sin, but the Bible is clear. It says that if you do something that causes you do something that you know your brother or who's weaker has an issue with that causes him to fall, the Bible clearly says, then it becomes a sin and that blood becomes on your hand. And it's Paul talking. Man, I gotta go back and re-look up the scripture. I want to say, I don't want to throw anything out there, I guess, but it's Paul. For some reason, I want to say I'm leaning towards Corinthians, where he's talking about, but he's basically was saying, if you're going to commit and do something, like I'll use drinking, for example. Yeah. If you're going to drink, Paul says, if you don't count it as a sin on your own heart, then you do it, and it says at home, where no one can see it but you and God, and it can't cause anyone around you who knows your position, who knows your title, anything like that, to fall. And he says, so if you do something and you're like, well, I don't feel this, and you do it at home where no one can see it and cause you to fall. He said, but if you do it out in the open where other people can see, your brother can see you, and it causes a weaker Christian or brother and sister in Christ to fall, it is a sin.
Absolutely.
And so, and the second part of that is, as you grow in God, your taste for stuff will change. If you said that, man, I love God, I got the Holy Ghost, I've been serving the Lord for 5 years, and you haven't had any spiritual growth away from something, something is off. Because as you grow in God, the stuff that you desired when you first got saved will change 5 years down the line. So your appetite for, I don't know, cursing, smoking, drinking, stuff like that, the more you grow in God, will begin to wane. Because even if you don't personally think it's a sin, what is it doing? How does it edify and glorify God? Cussing, drinking, smoking, any sin, anything of the nature does nothing but edify our personal flesh self.
I agree with you 110%. I believe that, and here's my thought about it. I'm just thinking about it as you're talking. I believe that the major Christian hip hop platforms that allowed us to happen don't have a necessary standard of what is Christian hip hop. I think that's the first thing as a community we need to address. What is Christian hip hop? Who can be involved in our community? Because it's like a lot of people, what they've done is that they use Christian hip hop as a platform to build their fan base. And once they feel like they have a sustainable fan base, then they try to venture off. I know that it was one Christian hip hop YouTubers, and they had a video where I forget the video it was set. No, You're Welcome, Sean. You're Welcome, Sean. He did something and they read his tweets verbatim. And when they read it verbatim, what happened was I was tripping about it. I was laughing about it, but I was like, oh man, like you got to know your audience. Now, would I do a video where I curse? No, I don't curse in real life like that, because I run an after school program. I have kids that look up to me. And the minute that they hear, I got my kids look up to me. And the minute they hear me say, drop a cuss word, even if they think I dropped the cuss word, they're going to look at me differently. Like, Lucky, Lucky, you cussed? It's like, nah, bro, I didn't know. So coming back to your platform, I think that we are starting to see artists who really want to be in the mainstream but can't cut the mustard. So what they do is they try to blend in like, oh, I'm a Christian, we all good. And it's like, nah, brother, the only reason why you are a quote unquote a Christian rapper or whatever is because your title. Nothing about your lifestyle, nothing about you changed. A lot of these rappers don't want to be approached. Like if you come to me like, yo, that's not right, they get prideful, it's not a sin, that's a cop-out. You know what I'm saying? You just said it. Paul said, look, if you do something and it causes your brother to stumble, don't do it.
Well, there's one of the things is I just gotta realize in my head what the Bible says is the closer we get to the end time, there's just going to be a falling away of the church. That said, men will have itching ears, rejecting sound doctrinally.
Yeah.
And they will be being more willing to believe a lie over the truth. And so I know that people got this, because anytime man, if you really feel like the Lord will be pleased with you, I guess, engaging openly in things that have been biblically associated with a sinful lifestyle, and saying it's okay to do as a Christian because God forgive you, God knows my heart, you're deceiving yourself. I think one of the biggest things that's going to catch some people up when they close their eyes finally is that they believe the only thing I need to get to heaven is I just have to believe that Jesus is the Son of God. He died on the cross for my sins and accept him. Okay, the devil knows Jesus is the Son of God. Now, he didn't necessarily accept him in his heart, but you have people that say, well, I'm a Christian, I believe Jesus is the Son of God. Okay, cool. But that is not enough. If you love God, you will obey his commandments. So you're going to have people on the day when they finally close their eyes going, well, God, I believe Jesus is your son. I asked for forgiveness for my sins when I accepted him that one time, and Jesus going to say, depart from me, now workers of iniquity. I don't know you.
Yeah.
And it's because of the disobedience, because anytime it clearly says in the Bible, don't engage in this. It says to have holy conversation, to be sober minded. I mean, it just over and over and over and over again talks about how Christians should just, we shouldn't be, I mean, the Bible even talks about drunkardness. It says drunkards will have their place in the lake of fire. How are you telling me then that drinking is cool when it literally says drunkards will have their place in the lake of fire? Well, then they'll say, well, okay, well, I'm just having one glass of wine. I'm just having two. I'm just having three. Okay, well, over in Titus, it talks a lot about men and women of God being sober-minded, having temperance. I mean, anytime that you, and the problem is hip-hop culture glorifies the use of substances. And if you don't think for a second the devil wants to sneak that into Christian hip-hop, I feel like that when we do that, we are playing with fire. So I already know there's going to be people that go, well, I don't see nothing wrong with drinking, and drinking's not a sin. Okay. It's like I put in my tweet. We have a lot of people who want to live these gray area Christian lifestyles. And you know what? That's your choice. I just hope that when you close your eyes finally, that choice you made was right. And, you know, you're like, well, God ain't going to judge, you know, okay, that's your choice. I really, really hope that choice that you took pays off for you. Because once you close your eyes finally, nothing you can do about it. Me, I want to see God in peace. So anything, if I have to sit down and think about a way to justify why it should be right, I don't need to be doing it. There is nothing, anytime I was doing something that God told me to do, I had no hesitation, other than the devil trying to make me scared to do what I'm supposed to do. But I'm talking about, I never had to convince my flesh like, oh yeah, well the Bible does it. If I find myself doing that, that's because I already know deep down in my spirit that that's not something the Lord desires for me to do. And I'm just trying to find a way to do it so that the world accepts me and thinks that I'm cool. But I just got to a point where the world doesn't like me. They're never going to accept me. There's people in the church who aren't going to like me and aren't going to accept me. So I'm not living for them. I'm going to just live for God.
Absolutely. And I think it boils down to no accountability. I think now the quarantine is really going to show people who were really into Christian hip hop and who is doing it for clout, because shows are going to dry up. Nobody's really streaming like that. I know that's a lot of that's some people that are making, you know, decent amount of money, but it's like at the end of the day, like, what are you doing it for? And the book I'm reading right now, Soup the Chemist, he came out in '88 with SFC, Soldiers for Christ, and a lot of, and what I'm researching as far as Christian hip hop, it was based on ministry first, and it was an extension of my love for hip hop and going back into ministering to the hip hop culture. So a lot of the guys were kicked out of churches, and they would have no choice but to go out in the streets and preach the gospel and use the tool of hip hop to reach out to these brothers. It wasn't until CCM took hold of Christian hip hop that a lot of money started getting involved.
You think CCM took hold of Christian hip hop? Because I think they could be argued that CCM and Christian hip hop are still two segregated spheres, with CHH being mostly full of African American artists and CCM being mostly full of Caucasian artists, and the two overlap from time to time, some occasionally, but unified and blended, I don't know if
that's what I mean. When I say take over, let me clarify. I mean, as far as take over and allow some of the artists to come on board with, as far as the festival route, the youth group circuits, you know, and they gave.
And that's only like a handful. Like, you probably count on one hand type.
Yeah, it was like that in the early 90s. It was like that in the early 2000s, and it's still like that now. So really, if you think about it, you have to know how to cultivate your own audience in order for it to kind of make sense. So for me, I think that at the end of the day, it comes to a lot of these guys don't have grounded faith. It's on sand. They don't have convictions. They don't know what to believe, and and it's going to show. And I think that we need artists like you that's going to continue to fight for truth and understand what they're doing this for. And it's not to live a lavish life. It's not to have your name in lights, which, by the way, it can happen. But I think until people like yourself and more take hold of, hey, this is how it looks on this side, I think that we can kind of show people like, hey, look, if you say you're a Christian hip hop artist, your life should look like this versus you're drinking and smoking in the hood and you say,
yeah, we need mentoring.
Yeah,
I don't know where that group of it's like how the disciples would disciple of new leaders. I'm not necessarily I'm speaking for me because I don't disagree that it's not happening. I believe that it's happening, but I don't think that every artist is being discipled, or if they are being discipled, whoever is discipling them up is allowing them, these younger artists, newer artists, to believe a lie that, oh, anything can go in Christian hip hop type deal, which if you're just like, oh, whatever, I'm gonna just let them do whatever they young and grow into, understand God's gonna hold you accountable for that. So I have, like, again, I always shout out Big Doc Watson. He's kind of like my mentor, man, he has helped me know so much and learn so much about Christian hip hop, how it works, business side, and never once did he ever try to get me to go a route that was contradictory to God, well, the word or the word of God, something like that. In fact, it would often be it would be more stuff like, oh, this is, make that you presenting yourself online and doing, it would just be stuff like, and I thank God that I had somebody like that has the experience. And so every artist isn't fortunate to have that. But I really wish that these older artists would take these younger ones, and before they start letting them post and put music out, really, do they pray? Do they read their Bible? Like, what is their Christian walk like? Because if not, you can only hide who you are for so long. The fruit that's in you will come out. So that's why more artists using the N-word and cussing. I was like, well, it can't be surprised, but I said, what is in them is gonna come out. It is that's just what it comes down to. But when I see that, I don't take the stance of that ain't a real Christian. They don't really love the Lord. What I take the stance of is, I pray, I say, God, I pray that you would send somebody in their life that could show them and kind of lead and guide them in a closer walk to you. I pray that their pastor or their leader, their church covering would show them how, to engage and stuff, and encourage them and show them why maybe engaging in some of these activities online isn't fruitful for the Christian life. So I don't condemn them, because Jesus didn't come to condemn, he came to save. And I don't write them off and say, they just, they're 666 and, they're part of, whatever, all those, some of them YouTube theories that people be saying. I don't do anything like that. I pray for them, and then I say, God, give me more grace and compassion too. So, because at one point in time, I was where they were.
Yeah.
And somebody had to keep praying for me and praying that, the Lord would show me how to get closer with him and how to separate from those things. Because for some of them, it could be the sin that so easily besets you, that they really have to struggle with, that if they don't pray and go before God every single day, it can overtake them. Everyone has the sin that can easily, beset you. And for some of them, it might be, well, I've cursed all my life. I've been around cursing. I grew up cursing, it really is difficult and hard for me to bridle my tongue. So, some it could be, I drink every night. I have and I can't sleep unless I have a beer or wine. And I go, respect. So, so I just pray, I say, God, that I believe earnestly that they do want to be pleasing unto you. So I just said, God, just show them how to step away and draw nearer and closer to you, and that you put somebody in their life that would show them how to do that. But at the same time, I'm not gonna openly be like, yeah, man, if they do, like, but I'm not also gonna just call you individually out. Like, if you're my friend, I'm just gonna message you and be like, hey, dude, maybe you may not have understood, maybe you didn't realize it, but this is kind of the impression that is giving off, type deal. I'm not about that Twitter feud and online. Oh man, that's just dissension.
Yeah, I got into a few of those in my day, my covering.
Well, there's just it's not worth it anymore. Like, it's just not worth it.
It for me.
Go ahead. Because people believe what, man, but I just have decided. I just decided if people want to be open about dropping the N-word, drinking, cursing on their Christian hip hop platforms, I'm gonna be just as vocal about why I don't do it.
Yeah.
Instead of just sitting there, just being like, oh, I hope they change. I'm gonna just be as vocal about why I don't do it. And it's not a personal attack on them. It's just, I'm gonna just be, they can be as comfortable using it. I can be just as comfortable not using it.
And I think that here's the problem.
There you go.
Here's the problem I'm trying to solve. I think that instead of platforms trying to build, festivals and build, venues and, all these different things that are needed, I think that discipling needs to happen where, artists can get together and understand, like, look, man, this is the call of a Christian rapper. It's almost like a student athlete. You know what I'm saying? You are a student first and an athlete second. You know what I'm saying? And I think that we get that mixed up as far as the Christian rapper. We're Christians first. We're here to follow Jesus, and it is. I have a hard time believing that you can minister to somebody if y'all on the block and y'all smoking and drinking, whatever. How they gonna take your testimony seriously if you're doing the same they doing? It's like, hold up, blood, before you pass that blunt, Jesus gonna save you, right? And he's like, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, we doing the same thing, but I don't know. It's just, for me.
Yeah, I feel you. That's that's confusion. There's nothing wrong with going to the devil's territory and meeting them, but it's another thing to engage in the same vices of the people that you're trying to, pull away from Christ. I mean, pull away from the devil, because Christ never engaged in the sins of the sinners.
No,
he went to the sinner,
mm-hmm.
but he never engaged in the sins of the sinner. And so, but what it is, if you don't have the Holy Ghost power in you, and you're not as strong as you think you are,
you get beat up.
No spirit.
Yeah.
Well, there was a Lord over from 2009 until now. The Lord has really, really distanced my desire to want to be associated with, I know it sounds bad, a lot of current CHH platforms and avenues and stuff, because they're doing some things that don't agree with my spirit. And I'm just like, So at the end of the day, where the Lord has got, what I've gotten to the point is, if these man, sorry man, one sec, my alarms keep on.
It just had a big old D on the screen. It's all good,
I've gotten to the point to where if a Christian hip hop blog or anything wants to support me, that's cool. But there was a time where I was like most artists, where I thought, oh, I don't have the support of rock our community, like the biggest blog, biggest, ones with the Twitter followers, biggest DJs, then I'm not gonna blow up and be successful. And God has literally shown me that I can be successful without the cosign or help of any of them. So that's not to say that I think all Christian hip hop blogs and platforms are trash and that. No, I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that thank the Lord for moving me past the point to where I feel like if I don't have their validation, I'm not doing what God wants me to do. And so he's got me to the point to where anything in my career that happens is going to be 100% built on him. And I love that, because now if my true calling and validation and growth came from God, no man can take it away. Can't no blog or platform hold it over my head and be like, well, we helped launch your career. Nope.
It's
God orchestrated all of this, and I'm not a slave. And I would do and I want and what for me. Well, God has another thing, because the secular artists and secular platforms reach out to me quite often. They love my music. It blows my mind.
And DaShawn, here's what I think. Here's what I always think. I believe that's why I started Christian hip hop now. I believe that the Christian should use the genre community of Christian hip hop to help grow yourself, but you don't stay there. You know what I'm saying? Like, there shouldn't be a reason why a Christian shouldn't be on Hip Hop DX. And because of the community that the community that he's building within Christian hip hop has helped elevate this person to other platforms, and then we can start making some real noise. Because now secular is like, whoa, them boys, I see them blowing up. How are they blowing up? But what's happening is a platform that uses name to try to milk the community dry. You know what I'm saying? It's like, in the sense of, hey, you want to get on the site, right? Like, okay, cool. Well, here is this thing you got to do. And it's like, okay, I just want to get on your site. And then it's like, well, the community got to figure out who you are. And it's like, no, if you look at the community is 80% artists. You know what I'm saying? And I think that, and this is just my personal opinion, I think that when I'm in agreements with you. When you learn that you don't need anybody's validation, I think that you will the God will open the door up so wide that it's like, man, like, and then they will come to you. That always happens. Once you blow up to a certain point, they'll cover you, and you don't have to do anything about it. But it's a lot of artists don't know that, man. I know I'm constantly on like Review Friday shows. I mean, I do my own Review Friday as well, and I'm just constantly just listening and seeing these artists are starving for attention, any way, shape, or form. So let me ask you this before we get into the new record that's coming out June 12th. What is your opinion about paying to play? And I'm gonna give you this example. A lot of platforms are charging Christian hip hop platforms. We're gonna keep it in Christian hip hop. I know it happens in secular too, but we're gonna keep it in Christian hip hop. They charge artists to either get their music reviewed or to be a part of their Patreon community, where they kind of give you information for maybe 10 or 15 bucks. What do you think about that? Because I got my own opinion, but I want to hear yours first.
I think as long as it's fair and it's neutral, I don't really see an issue with it, because to do any of God's work takes money. That we just gotta be real. When you're just saying, when it's just blanket, like, hey, if anyone pays this, as long as we have the slots and availability, we'll be open to help anyone. I don't see an issue with that. Because it's neutral, it's not biased or leaning. Where it can become dangerous is if you put it out there and you favor, certain people over, others. But I mean, when it comes down to it, music is subjective. So there are gonna be people that hear my music and go, I hate it, it's trash. And there's gonna be people that hear and go, oh, I love it. There'll be blogs that go, oh man, this is so great. And there'll be blogs that go, not really our thing. So, you know, if you're keeping it honest, you're keeping it true, and you're being neutral and trying to be as fair as possible to everybody, I don't see what the problem is, because it costs money to make money. So even though it is a ministry, there is a business side. Even nonprofit churches, you know, people got, you know, have to pay their tithes and offering, because to operate and do God's business, it takes money. So I think that these blogs, they're just doing what any, I think, reasonable business would do. First step is get your name out there and just post content, build up the traffic. Second step, who wants to advertise on our site, you know, because we're getting this traffic. Now you can show, hey, we have this traffic coming. Who wants to put ads on there? Third step, okay. Now we have so many people advertising our site. We have to funnel it down, because everyone can't have access. So we'll say, if you don't want to pay, you can always, you know, submit and, you know, hope that we see it, we come across your music and post it. Or if you want to make sure that we see your music because you believe in it that strongly, then you can pay, and it moves it to the top of the list, and it guarantees that we see it. I mean, that, to me, I don't even think that's not even like a Christian thing. That's just a pure business move thing. And I think that some Christians get upset when other Christians say, oh, it costs this amount of money for my service, as if we're supposed to do everything, blah, blah. Well, you really want me to just put myself out there to just be completely taken advantage of by everybody? Now, if God tells you, don't charge this person, help them out, don't charge them, help them out. But do you honestly think God wants you to say, oh, I'm setting up this business, but I'm never going to charge anybody who's a Christian? Yeah. Like, God is a God of wisdom and common sense. So with everything, just because someone's advertising and say you got to pay, don't mean you have to do it. You should always be prayerful and go, you know, ask God, should I submit my song to this site? Should I do this? And he might tell you yes, he might tell you no. My personal thought, in this day and age, you would have a bigger impact taking the money that you were going to pay to post your music on a blog and put it in Instagram and Facebook ads and market it to people and say, I have a new song out. You're going to get more, you're going to get more bang for your buck from that, because, yeah, there's just, that's a little more organic. I mean, when I talk to, you know, anytime I talk to Doc and be like, oh, you know what I'm thinking? He's always like, hey, make sure you have money for Instagram and Facebook ads. Like, it doesn't matter. We can never talk about posting it or sending it to any music blog. But I would say, make sure you got money to market it on Instagram. Make sure you got money to market on Facebook, because the view rate on Instagram is like 10%, and that's high. That's very high. 10% of people who have never heard or seen your music now seeing it, and the cost that you have to pay for it, for $150 that you were gonna pay to get it on a big blog for, I don't even know how. I haven't been to a blog to go look and see how much it is. I don't even know how much it is anymore.
I think that has to be mutual. I think that if you're gonna spend money with a blog, you need to know that blog site in particular is just as invested in your music than you are. And I think that blog.
Why? If they're, and I hear your point, I'm gonna be the devil's advocate.
Go ahead.
They're being a business. If your blog site gets to a certain level, the amount of traffic and artists and people hitting you up to try to be a part and right off the back of your platform is too many. You have to find some way to funnel it and streamline it down. So right now, I got people who DM me and go, hey, can you listen to my music? And I go, sure. You know why? I got the time, and it's not a huge amount of them doing it. But the more God elevates me and the bigger I grow, there is no way I'm going to be able to see everybody. So one way I can say, hey, if you really believe in your music and you are as invested as you want, you can look at it as advertising. Spend $20 to get me to guarantee to know that I'm like what Ruslan does. I'm going to listen to your stuff and give you honest industry critique and feedback. And it's like $20 a month. I think that's a pretty good deal. And you know he's going to hear it. And he might go, you know, I like that. And, you know, connect with you and build that relation. It's $20, man. That's not bad for a patron. Right. And that's what Ruslan, I love King's Dream, man. Shout out King's Dream. Like, real talk. I love King's Dream. Everything they do over there. I appreciate it. It's so genuine. It's so honest. I thought about making a list of Christian hip-hop rappers that I appreciate that put out good quality level content. And I know I can listen to it and not have to worry about censorship. King's Dream, Social Club, Misfits, man. For sure. Stephen Malcolm.
Yeah.
Man, I'm trying to think. I love them. Oh, anything that comes out of the RMG camp obviously is is gonna be good. I mean, it's just shoot, God over money. I mean, so I don't want people to hear this and think that Christian hip hop is trending in a bad way. And no. Mm-hmm. There's so many artists out there that's doing good, and sometimes we have a tendency to just highlight the bad and not appreciate the good. So I do want to say there's so many out there that's doing good Kingdom music, and I want to shout them out and let them know, man, I see you guys, see you, the fans see you. So I don't think that's unreasonable. But really, you don't need to worry about posting on those blog stuff until you have a big enough fan base who needs to know it. Like when you get to a large enough number of fan base and realize that all of your fans may not follow you on Instagram, all of them may not follow you on Twitter, then post them on a really big blog site to where that, you know, overlap and catches all those communities. That's when I think it becomes real beneficial, because those clicks will turn into a more higher probability of guaranteed streams, because people go, oh, I recognize that music, I know it. If you just brand new out the boat, like if someone just fresh out, they never heard of you, it takes a while. People got to recognize that name and just, you know, and recognize that brand to click. So I just think you'd be better off putting it in Instagram, putting it on Facebook.
You know, it's funny because I also run a blog site, and I'm like, oh man, you know, shout out to the blog sites that, you know, that you know, you don't need no blog sites, go to Instagram. I'm like, oh. But I do as an artist.
I mean, but you do when you get to a level. Everything's is a progression, and you know, some of these artists want to try to ride NASCAR, and they barely just learn how to crawl. Like, you gotta progress into this stuff. It's been years I've been building into this, and I'm just now to a point where I feel like my career is really about to just.
It'd be funny next month you get the Grammys. And I was like, what? How quick you said it was going to be. But I agree. I think for me, running a small Christian pop blog site, it's like you get artists and they feel entitled. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make sense for me to write about you. I'm going to spend all the time researching you, getting the story together, getting it edited, putting it on my site, and, you know, 2 people sees it. And you're trying to bank on me to just blow you up. And it's like, dude, it got to be mutual thing where if I'm going to write about you, at least share it. You know what I'm saying? And you got artists that don't want to share the work. It's like, dude, all it takes is 5 seconds for you to click a button. Yo, Christian Pop Now wrote a blog about me. Thank you so much. Because at the end of the day, as my platform grows, I'm going to remember the artists who I felt like, hey, they gave me a fair shake when I was starting off. And then that's how relationships get built. So as you grow, you're going to take the people that you know, hey, man, we've been working well together. Let's keep working. You know, you're not going to pluck out of thin air like, hey, artists that, you know, submitted their music once 3 years ago and now I'm big now. So I do like the fact. I think that artists should, I think Facebook and Instagram, I think artists are lazy. And I think that you're not a lazy artist, but artists don't want to know the business side about it. They don't want to figure out Instagram ads. Matter of fact, I got to take a course on Facebook ads 2020. I got to, refresh my memory.
Well, like I said, some of this is big shout out my parents. My parents are business owners. They own a couple businesses. So when I was younger, I was always fascinated with Solomon and his wisdom. Like that story when those two ladies bought the baby before him.
Oh God.
And they were trying to figure out, trying to convince the king to figure out which mother who was the mother of the baby. And he said, just cut the baby in half and give them each. And one was like, all right. And the other one was like, no, I'd rather him have. And he's like, that's your mother. I was like, man, that's wisdom you can't buy. And so I asked God, I was like, man, I don't want wisdom. I did. I remember I was like, God, I want to have wisdom because you said in your word, if I just ask for it, I can have it. And he told me, clear as day, he said, listen to your parents. And I remember thinking, that is not the answer. I'm serious. I was like, that is not the answer that I thought I was going to get. But I was like, all right. But I told my parents, I was like, well, I asked God for wisdom. They said, listen to you. You know what? I've been listening to them, and I am very, very successful. Quite often, I do not really run into people in my age category that have the same stuff that I do. I know they're out there, but do I run into them on everyday life?
No,
not really. Not really. But I can't take credit.
record deals.
Well, and they're business owners, and so before I even jumped into a lot of this stuff, my parents would talk to me constantly about business, things they do with their business. And so I listened to that, and I took that over to my music business. A lot of the same stuff applies. It's just I'm marketing music. They're doing clothing and real estate and, whatever else. They got so many, they tell me about it. So, I mean, it behooves you as an artist. If you're really serious about this, you need to study and learn the industry. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. You need to learn it.
And I think that artists in 2020, the artists that learn that is going to take off like a rocket, and the artists that don't, it's going to get taken advantage of and sign these whack little 360 deals that all artists labels is really using them for streaming numbers, and they get shelved. So I thank God for artists like you that know the business, that are that knows how to think. A lot of these artists don't know how to think, and they just replicate what they see. So let's get into this. The next, so you got a deal. We won't know who signed you until June 12th of this year. So what are some plans of it? I know, unfortunately, we're not gonna have any tours. I don't see in the next 6 months, unless they say, hey, you can gather with 50 people or less, and that won't hurt Christian hip hop, because a lot of us, that's our targeted audience. We perform in front of 50 people or less. That's us every night. But talk a little bit about what this year brings. Since you got a record label, we should have an album. We should have some visuals. We should have something where.
Man, I'm actually last night for visuals and stuff. TikTok seems to be a really popular platform right now. So, put together, a little TikTok dance challenge, to go with the song. I'm at one of those things, if it ain't broken, don't try to fix it type deal. So, TikTok seems to be the popular, so expect to see some TikTok stuff, lyric videos, music videos. I mean, here in Texas, we are able to, business and stuff are open. We are able to go out in public and stuff. We just, it's highly encouraged. We wear a mask and, gloves and stuff. So, but everyone has their different preferences. So my photographer that I use, I don't know if he's like comfortable, going out that I have to, we got to iron through. To be honest, the world is my platter. I don't even think I could list off everything that could be happening this year. But I am working on, I don't know if it's going to be as long as an album, but I'm putting together a project that should have at least 6 or 7 songs.
Thank you. DaShawn, goodness, because I'm tired of hearing these 2-track EPs, and it's like, that's it, and I gotta listen to your whole single category to be satisfied, and be like, well, I guess this, okay, so it would probably be an EP. You may add one extra song to it to make it an LP because you know Spotify and the platforms, they give special preferences to LPs versus EPs. So, you know, you could add one song there so it can just sit at the top.
It could, you know, and I have so much music that I've been working on. And the thing about it, what I love about this music coming out is some people got that ear fatigue from trap. You know, some of this stuff that's coming out is going to be, you're going to go, oh, she trying to do something different. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Exactly. You already know I'm not a huge fan of autotune, so don't ever expect to hear that.
Oh my God. It is so overused.
I'm telling you.
Boy, and people don't realize it has to sound good. A lot of people just get auto-tune, they turn that sucker on and they sing their little heart out, and it doesn't.
Yeah, I'm listening to.
You say my icons glitching?
No, I'm saying I don't even know all the time who I'm listening to. I have to like click on the info because of like, I just, someone's singing and it's auto-tune on it. And so I'm like, I don't know, because a lot of it's not, you have some people that have distinctive voices, like, you know, like a Young Thug, Future. If I heard them in auto-tune, I would know. But some of the new people, I'm like, who is this?
Well, so what's happening is, and then one thing that I'm trying to experiment with, but I think a lot of people are experimenting with this lo-fi hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Some people are.
I like that.
Some people are doing it, but I'm like, bruh, you could totally you don't even have to write a whole 16. You kind of let the beat ride out. It's so many different things that you can do with lo-fi hip hop, and it's blowing up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I think that for us, because you don't have to triple time, double time, you can just literally just move. So I think that this is gonna be awesome.
It's coming. I mean, I'm talking about I got dance hall stuff, I got Afrobeat stuff, I got like some little, you know, rock stuff. I mean, some acapella. I mean, y'all are gonna be like, I feel like you're either gonna love it or you're gonna be like, DaShawn was just at home. It was just like, what genre can I do today?
No, and here's another thing. When are we going? I know we talked about last time, and you said that you had some gospel records and you had some singing type records. We got a little bit of that. But when are we gonna get a singing type record where it's like, oh, it's no rapping? It's like, let me test the waters real quick. When are we gonna get that?
Man, that I'm gonna be working on that because yeah, my dad's a pastor, so you know I'm at church minimum. Well, for this quarantine, I was there twice a week, and so gospel is a huge part of my background, and I love that's why Kanye's new stuff. I love it because to me it's like all of the best elements of church plus my favorite rap, or it's just like the Sunday service album. It's just the gospel choirs. I have music like that. I just haven't released it yet because I'm still working on it because that stuff, there's so many more layers to it because I'm talking about having like my older brother, he plays the drums and the organ and piano. My little brother, he can play the organ and the violin, you know, I got another one that can play the viola. I got my siblings have they have a lot of gifts and instruments, and so they're talking about my little brother. He knows how to read music. He knows how to read it. I don't. Yeah. And he's already been discussed with me. He's like, hey, we need to do like a live instrument album where you're singing like more gospel-y stuff like you would see in church, you know, with us playing the live instruments. And I'm down for that. It's just how we record and all of that is different, and the process takes longer than just me having the beat and rapping over it. So and then having to write original gospel songs that, you know, that God just gives you and not just build out for someone else, you know, that requires, you know, listening to, you know, what God is saying and what he's doing. So that is also something that I'm working on too. But since I'm incorporating, you know, like my siblings and stuff with me, that one will take a little more time because, you know, I know that my parents and stuff would appreciate, you know, hearing their child. I mean, they get to hear me sing on Sundays, every Sunday, but I know that the more gospel leaning people would definitely appreciate something like that. So, but I do have some songs already that should be coming out pretty soon that kind of have a Kanye feel to them. I think if you hear, you go, yeah, that's inspired by Kanye. Like, you know, got the choir in the background and stuff like that. That I think you guys are like. It's just, yeah. Now that I'm at home and I'm not having to go into work, I've been having a lot of time to really be able to work on this,
Gotcha.
and push stuff out. So that's another thing that's happening too. Is I have the time, a lot of time to do this. So, you know, just there's so much that should be coming out of the DaShawn Shauntà camp. There'll be something for everybody.
So can you confirm or deny that there will be a tour where you're going to be outside of Texas? Because some people in South Carolina would like to see you, but you know, I understand Texas, South Carolina. It's like you don't just ride by South Carolina, you know.
Well, the label that I'm with, they believe in tours. So is there a good possibility that you'll see me on one? I don't know about this year because I don't know how stuff's gonna be opening up. In the near future, I'm gonna say a good strong yes. But a lot of it's gonna depend on how my music also takes off and goes, you know, because I've let a couple people hear the new song Quarantino, and I've gotten really good feedback. Like most of it's like, this is, you know, and I even let my friend, so I went over to my friend's house last night. She is an atheist.
Oh.
She does not believe, but she loves my music and she knows that I do Christian hip hop, but she loves it. Every time I come over, all she wants to do is hear what do you have that's new? I don't want to play it. And she'll just play it, and she'll go, she had to go get her fiance. Oh, you got to listen to this. And he's never heard. He's like, oh, I love it. And then they got to go. And then they're, you know, we're sitting out in the garage grilling while they're grilling. And their neighbors are like, you know, out next door. We had to go over there and let them hear. I mean, it's just.
Yeah, because.
And like I said, she says she doesn't believe in God, but anytime she needs prayer or anything like that, she'll be like, well, I know you woman of God. I know you get it through. I believe that she believes in God, but, you know, she's still, I'm not giving up on her. But I'm just saying that when I can let them hear it and they just be like, you know, like just go crazy. And I don't, and she's really honest. If she didn't like it, she would be like, Yeah. That always makes me feel good. And then always makes me go, you know what, God, I don't think that my music was ever just meant for Christians. I think that my music is meant to expand outside of Christian hip hop, because Pandora, my Lord, when I look at my songs and who's been playing on what, my most popular song on Pandora gets played on secular Pandora stations. It's almost on no Christian hip hop Pandora radio stations. It's on like just regular hip hop stations, and it's on Pandora alone, it's pushing 70,000 streams. I mean,
hey, you're doing numbers that you're that one song alone is bodying 80% of Christian hip hop stream count. Like low key. They're not low key, but it is. So man, we are excited for this. I am excited because anytime you're any close to a 2.5, 3 hour radius in Greenville, South Carolina, I'm coming to a show. You probably be in Atlanta. That's the closest. I'm excited because of the evolution of DaShawn Shauntà. You know, we've been getting.
Well, hey, I got an aunt and uncle who lives in South Carolina, so you know they fuss at me when I don't tell them, you know, my music and stuff drops. Like, we want to hear and support you. So if nothing else, if I, you know, go in there just to go visit them. You know, it's nothing to put something together. You know, anywhere where my family's at, there's always a high probability that I'll be coming through. You know.
What part of South Carolina?
Charlotte.
Charlotte. Oh, that's North Carolina, but that's still.
I mean,
hey.
Yes, North Carolina.
That's still like 2 hours away. You know,
I always mix it up.
You know what? It's okay, DaShawn. You know that's how they always think.
Carolina.
They think that Charlotte is just in South Carolina. We got it's kind of bold, but it's all good. But man, tell the people listening where they can find you
where they can find me. Hey, you can find me anywhere you would go to find any of your normal musicians that you love to listen to. Apple, Spotify, Pandora, SoundCloud, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. You can either type in DaShawn Shauntà, that's DaShawn space Shauntà, ShauntA. Or Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, it's all at DaShawnie, and that's DaShWnee. So you can also, I have a website, DaShawnie.com. You find those links on my Instagram or Twitter or Facebook or SoundCloud. And I just want to say, if anybody that reaches out to me, they just want to chop it up, you know, hey, I'm all about that. Please don't reach out to me trying to like hit on me. That message gets played.
Hey, I was gonna say the same thing. I was like, hey, you better watch that, because somebody will be like, oh, they all only thing they're gonna hear is hit me up to talk. They were like, oh, let's talk. It's like, nah.
I wouldn't say that, because man, there's sometimes that I tell people, I'm like, look, man, they'll be like, well, can I talk to you on your personal? I was like, I don't have a personal. I'm not. This is, you know, all of my social medias are for my music. You know, I'm the type that if we need to talk personally, then I get your cell phone number in my phone. You know, I'm not just trying to be on there. So please don't hit me up with that agenda.
They'll call you on Facebook Messenger. You know, people crafty now. They'll call you on Instagram, Facebook Messenger, and be like, hey, you ain't answer. I'm trying to connect.
Dude, look, I can't even tell you. I've taken screenshots of just crazy. I've had people say, I love you, like, oh, we'll get married. I'm just like, what?
Hey.
Talking about, I mean, just so, you know, thank God no one has sent any, you know, crazy stuff. But I mean, I have been like, oh, can you know, will you marry me? I mean, and they're serious. And I'm like, you being serious? You know, they're being serious. And I'm just like, listen. And so I just switch up. Well, what do you feel about the song? They're like, what? Like, oh, the music. I'm like, yeah, because this is what I'm here to talk about.
Yeah.
So, you know.
And I'm glad. See, here's the thing. I'm just, that's another topic we can talk about. I just think that if you're dope, whether you're female, male, I think that the males, in hip hop in general, it's spoken about how females are so thirsty for these artists or whatever, but we never hear that these dudes are super thirsty as well. You know, you don't
super. And I want that one to say is, hey, shout out to the women that are keep pushing, keep going forward. I'm starting to see more female Christian hip hop artists.
It's a lot. It's a good bit. I have,
and they're growing, and hey, they got some good stuff. I am looking forward to the day that they can do like a female Christian hip hop tour. I know that we got to get the numbers and stuff up, because man, when even the main Christian hip hop artists that are dudes can't draw in, you know, there's like 3 or 4 of them on the tour, and they can't even draw in the numbers, you know, the females aren't as popular, and so we can't, you know, so we gotta really push because people, Beyonce, Nicki Minaj, those people, because Cardi B, those concerts are sold out. There's no reason we can't have super sold out Christian hip hop.
It's for me, like I said, it needs to, instead of depending on the church to build your fan base, you need to go out here in the streets. You need to go out here and need open mics. You need to build a fan base like a regular secular artist would do. And I think that once, and then like you, I think that your signing and have your music played will be a testament to a blueprint. I pray that you're a blueprint, because a lot of artists are afraid to use that avenue. Like, hey, look, go out in the streets, you know, promote to, you know, secular platforms that can get your music heard in different listeners' eyes, and know your niche. A lot of these artists, they chase out the sounding like somebody else that it's not appealing to the mainstream. Like, oh, you're a B or C copy. You know what I'm saying? And there's tons of B to C copies that they can choose from. And it's like, why would they choose you? And then you have the stimulation of Christian. But if you can sell, and like you already know, if you can sell, they don't care what you call yourself. They don't care how you call yourself. They just want you. And then 2, when they really legitimately open these venues back, if you can draw numbers, you're going to be the first ones that get booked. You know what I'm saying?
You're right. Hey, but it was like Lasana Harris said, like he tweeted saying we needed more behind the scenes business Christian hip hop people, and we do. We need more Christian hip hop people that don't want to be an artist but want to help build infrastructure. We need venues. We need concert promoters. We need manager, booking aid. We need that stuff, and I'm starting to see a couple more of them pop up, like Butter P, she has one. The Aaron Effect, she has one. These are ones that I'm seeing more of. If I'm sure there's more but these are two that I see constantly coming across my Twitter feed. And women are, they're in the upper echelons, helping to drive it, which makes me very supportive. Come up, woo, go with me. So we need more people that are like, hey, my role is not to be an artist, but my role is to help build this infrastructure and build these bridges, because we want the world to see what we got over here. We got to build a bridge for them to get to us.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just being honest. Like, they don't know that some Christian hip hop artists are out there, because I can't find your link. Like, I go to your Twitter and you're like, oh, I just dropped the song, and I'm and honestly, and so your Twitter name and your Instagram name is not the same as your artist name. So you don't have the link posted on your social. So I have to go to Apple Music and type in what I think your artist name is, and then I can't find you. And I'm like, well, whatever. This is too hard to try to find. You are.
It's so my thing is this, and this is one thing I'm working on too. It's like you have to want to. It's so hard, especially if you have been an artist, to realize that your place will not be in the role that you think it is going to be. I'm not saying that you can't do music, you can't cut records or whatever, but at the same time, it's like maybe your gift is not being an artist. Maybe your gift, like you said, booking agency, promoter, radio people. We need a lot more people that generally want to build, because
or YouTube, like.
Oh, go ahead. You was breaking up. What you
I was gonna say, like Belief, he kind of stepped away from music to do more YouTube blogs, and man, he's building a Christian brand, but it's mostly on YouTube. But whatever, that he found his lane. So build a Christian brand. It doesn't have to just be through music. It can be through YouTube blog. It can be through funny Christian TikTok. I mean, there is an audience out here that wants the content, good quality content, but they just don't want it to sound like to have all of the downfalls of secular. Now, we're not saying you can't talk about where that you used to be like this, or you can't talk. We're not saying you can't talk about it. We're just saying we don't want listening to sin and temptation and lust and stuff like that. But I never ever leave myself there. By the time the song is over, or midway through the song, I've reconnected back to God, or I end it with hope. So I'm saying that's all we're saying, man. You don't have to just be an artist.
You know what, DaShawn? I really wish that on the next couple of songs, you do talk about the struggles of men, trying to hit on you through the DMs or whatever. Like, that would be, because I think that I'm just excited. I really am, man. I know that it's, like I said before, it was man. It is so refreshing to talk to artists with a perspective like yours. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm literally, since the quarantine, I've been building Christian hip hop now. Me and my wife, and as I'm building and as I'm listening to artists, the one thing I've realized is that in Christian hip hop, we have the talent is there. Because I go back and I listen to some of the local music in my local scene in Greenville, and it's not great. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. I think the problem comes in, how can you become marketable so that you can get in front of the masses, so they can give you a shot to listen to your music and decide for themselves. And I think that if you compare, I know what Trackstar do, if you could compare a Christian hip hopper to a mainstream hip hopper, content and also alone, it sounds good. But our problem is that we cannot put butts in the seats And if you are a promoter, because I put my promoter hat on sometimes, it's like artists want to bring you to the show and they can't offer any value. I don't give a darn if you could bring 30 people out. You know, I can pack it out, but I know that you added value. But if you come to my venue and the show is trash, it's like, look, what is your drawing number? And a lot of people beef their numbers up based off their social media followers and streaming stats. Those are vanity numbers. So I think that building the business, taking the time to do it the right way, like you're doing it, will eventually lead to us. Like I told you in the week, it can be done. He's selling out. You know, he's talking about his.
You know why? Because he's authentic. People are in secular and in Christian hip hop. They are flocking to people who are putting out music that is an extension of themselves, that is authentic. Like when What Up RG came down here to Dallas, and who knows, we ain't gonna be calling him What Up RG that much longer. When he came to Dallas, boy, the streets were packed, and I realized he's giving Hispanics in Christian hip hop a voice that they really haven't had before, and they're flocking to him because they recognize what he's putting out is authentic. Does everyone agree with his? But you can see that he's trying to honor God. He's trying to walk with God. He's trying to do what he believes God is calling him to do, and he's giving somebody that doesn't have in Christian hip hop a voice. So me being a female, that's kind of a leg up that I have on some of the other artists, are because there's some women that go, yes, here's a female artist. I know what she's talking about. I with her, I get her perspective. Funny thing though, when I look at my stats, most of my listeners are men, it's so uneven. I'm talking like 60 to 70% of my listeners are guys, and like 30 to 40% are women. And I used to go, what, do girls not like me? And my little sister was like, she's like, I don't think it's that. She said, you're doing, a lot of your songs have been more rapping. So she said, when you start doing your R&B stuff, she's like, I bet you're gonna bring in more
females,
more female listeners. I said that's possible. But I said, really, the music is reaching whoever is meant to, reach right now. And you know what? Honestly, I hope guys listen to it and understand that, don't treat, all women don't want to be treated like this, like that, So, whoever it reads, but yeah, that's just you. If you're authentic, and they feel like you're authentic, and they feel like you represent them, they're gonna come to your show. Like, I bet when Wande starts doing her tour, I bet there's gonna be groups flocking to her because they're like, oh, we got us another female Christian hip hop rapper, other than Jackie.
Yeah, and Jackie don't rap no more like that. She her bag is speaking wise, but
she's dope. She don't have to.
Yeah, she don't. Yeah, exactly. Hey, if you can find a bag somewhere else and you ain't gotta put up with an artist lifestyle, you all good, man. But man, it's
artist lifestyle. If you don't own your publishing, it's a whole lot of tours. Because my cousin, I have a cousin who's married to Mary's little sister.
Okay, let's get it.
And then my brother is married to Fred Hammond's daughter.
Okay.
So, and I met Kirk Franklin a long time ago.
Was this pre-stump or after stump?
It was after stump. Okay. But it was before I Smile. It was before that.
Now I say, was it before I Smile or after I Smile? I Smile came out. Yeah. So okay.
So I met him. I mean, I'm not saying like I just be in the phone like, hey Kirk, what's up? It's nothing like that. Yeah. But I have met him before a couple times. Back when him and you don't live in Texas, but do you have a Six Flags in South Carolina?
We have one in Georgia, in Atlanta.
Okay, well, we got the Six Flags in the DFW area, and so since Kirk Franklin and Fred Hammond both live in the area, they would always do a gospel concert at Six Flags, and whenever they did it, it would be packed. And so, we go, and it was cool to get to be, behind the scenes and talk with them and everything. And they're both good people. I'm not saying that to be like, oh yeah, but what I'm saying is that getting to hear some of the insight behind what it goes into artist life. If you don't own your publishing, you have to do a lot of tours to make your money. And so now that everything's shut down and you ain't touring, if you don't own your publishing, or if you don't have a booming merch business, KB, you hurting Christian hip hop, anybody.
Yeah.
So I would encourage you, if you get as much publishing as possible, because when you're not out touring, once you get to a certain amount of songs, that's gonna start being income that you got. You can, hey, I know that's gonna be coming in every single month. And streams for everyone have not everyone, but for most people have dropped down because most people listen to music while they're driving in a car. People aren't driving. Yeah. You're spending more time watching videos. So, if this quarantine thing is gonna be a long process, invest in doing TikToks, doing 1 minute Instagram video, visual content with the link to your stuff,
Absolutely. And I think a lot of people that's gonna listen to you, that you're telling them about their publishing, a lot of people man, if I can just get the clout, because a lot of people, they are clout chasers. They're not necessarily business minded. So it's look, I hear all that, but if I can get a deal, like for you're saying you have a deal, and right now we haven't seen a lot of that manifest, but over the next year or so, we're gonna see a lot of this manifesting to the point where it's gonna be dang, like she said she had a deal. I didn't know it was like that. Bro, I'm telling y'all, that's why. But I feel like a lot of artists are not going to get it until they have to get it. And I think right now, people hurting, whether Christian hip hop or non-rappers. You're not seeing as many rappers, B or C list rappers flashing no more. You know what I'm saying? The Tekashi 6ix9ine make it seem like, oh, everybody's getting money. No, Tekashi 6ix9ine is getting that bread because he can pull in 2.5 million viewers on Instagram Live. You know what I'm saying?
And he partnered with I was just researching his publishing. He owns. So if you go look on, so if you want to know who owns what, if you have Apple Music, if you go in and type in the name of the single at the bottom, it's gonna tell you who owns the publishing. So Tekashi owns some because he's up there, and then I can't think of the name. I just forgot. I was looking them up. They're the distributor people. They're doing the other. So if he's not having to funnel his money through a big record label machine like Sony or Atlanta or something like that, he's getting the money directly in his hand of pure streaming / album sales, YouTube views. Yeah. He's gonna be making a good amount of money.
Yeah, but
anyone could do.
Yeah,
you gotta keep publishing. Like Russ, I don't even know who Russ is or if you follow him.
Yeah, I know Russ.
He talks a lot of but man, when you got to give it to him when it comes to his business stuff.
He has it. He has it down.
What did he say? He said that's why you got to own your publishing. He said my catalog is bringing in 100 bands, which I know a band is 1,000, so $100,000 a month, and he's like, I'm not doing tours, nothing. So this dude, if we believe what he's saying, which I can believe it because people flock to his music, could never go on tour again, could never do anything, just like, I'm done touring, and have $120,000 or more coming in. And that's, for most people, that's a really good lifestyle.
Man.
And all he did,
so, I'm sorry. It's my Wi-Fi. Zoom sucks. I just
oh man, you good?
I just feel like this, and I feel like this. Christian hip hop artists going to have to understand that, look, you have to learn a business, you have to build a following, and you have to build it from ground up and allow the Christian hip hop community to kind of help have that safety net you have. Like, oh, I'm building my fan base here. I have this Christian hip hop fan base there. So if Christian hip hop acts funny, you still have this fan base that you built and cultivated. I just think that once we get to that point, and then once we start getting people like, hey, look, I can identify as them, they're a Christian hip hopper, they're making noise in the mainstream, I think that the genre itself can move forward, because I think a lot of people depended so heavily on Lecrae and what Reach Records were doing that when they moved, it was like almost like following leader, right? And then when you bust a cool right and you're not prepared for it, and it's like, oh, where you going? It's like you just stuck. My man is right, and he built. Or like, I give another example. Like, you know, when I was younger, me and my friends used to run across the street for cars, right? If you your friend will be dipping, and you'll be stuck like, hey, well, hold on, you turn your head this way, your dude be going this way, and you got to catch behind him, because it's like, man, I done got left behind. And I think that a lot of CHH artists have got left behind, and they're trying to mimic the 116 way without them building their own platform. So that's why you see a lot of artists, you know, they're trying to be more like Reach Records, or they're trying to be a little bit more like Lecrae, or they're trying to be a little bit more edgier, because they think that gets them the attention, and they don't realize that you're just playing yourself, honestly.
Well, I mean, but can you blame them? Because if you're new to this, you don't have a business mentor, you don't have any business, you know, background. How do you think about when you first learn how to walk? How did the babies learn how to walk? We get up, we show them how to walk. They watch somebody. So if you're a brand new artist and a baby to this, how do you learn how to start doing this? You watch somebody. And the Lecrae Reach Records made a huge impact and a huge splash on Christian hip hop. And so these artists, and his brand is really recognizable in the Christian community. So the kids go, okay, they did it like this. It was successful. I guess I should follow after them.
Yeah.
Or I follow after God over money. Or I follow after, RMG. It's you have to really believe in yourself to be willing to go against Instagram. I believe until they hear it. Because I know I've made songs and I've been like, and I've had people like, I don't think people are gonna like that. And that song, I just sit back and giggle, and I go, people didn't know that they were gonna love Ray Charles turning gospel into R&B until he did it.
Yeah.
And then it was, they didn't know they was gonna like Chuck Berry making, and kind of pretty much inventing the sound of rock and roll until he did it. And they're like, oh, I like this. So I look at it like this. I serve God who makes and created everything. He has all the ideas. Why I just go to the source to ask God to show me how to do something new, do something different.
You know what? Hey, and I think that's awesome, man. And we want to tell you that this video is brought to you by Champion and Coca-Cola. Oh, man. Froze, DaShawn. Oh, there you go. I think, see, when I do my jokes, they don't go through.
Oh, okay. What'd you say?
I was saying that.
Yeah, I didn't hear it. All I heard was this is brought to you by, and then it just.
See, it's brought to you by Champion and Coca-Cola.
You know what? I was actually thinking, I said, man, somebody watching is probably like, she riding hard.
I signed a deal, got your Champion hat on, drinking Coca-Cola. It's like, okay, hey, if they want to sponsor it, I'll wear everything too,
Hey, to be honest though, if I had to partner with anybody, Vans, I would partner with Vans over Adidas, over Nike. I'm a Vans person. And then it's like drink wise, I do like Coke. I drink mostly water, but I went and got some tacos earlier, and so I didn't drink my Coke with my tacos, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna just drink it now.
Coke and a smile. It's I think, man, if you open a business, like I said, I'm looking out for affiliate marketing deals and all that stuff that I can take advantage of right now instead of trying to create all these products that, just hey, if you got a product, I point people to your way. Cut me a little check. I'm good. So, DaShawn, it was awesome speaking with you. Hopefully, next time we speak, you are a Billboard topping artist.
Oh man.
Your record label can be revealed, and then here's what's gonna happen, DaShawn. Here's what's gonna happen once your label is being revealed. Depending on what type of label it is, depending on what type of deal it is, you're gonna see the Christian hip hop world on fire. Half of us like, I don't even know who she is. I'm gonna be like, oh, I've been on her since I found out about her. I've been supporting her music. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And I want somebody to come at me like, Lucky, no, you don't know what you're talking about. All right, we can get off. We can get offline and you get these hands. You know what I'm saying? I know it's violent and I understand that you don't want this to happen, but people get really upset. Like, I found her. You ain't found nobody. Okay, first of all, she was with Doc Watson the whole time. He found her. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's been on Twitter, the whole time. So.
I actually am starting to have some more Christian hip hop artists and stuff start following me. I think that's cool. If I've never really spoken to them or talked to them, I don't just follow through with that. Again, I think I said this last time. It's not to hurt anybody's feelings. I'm cautious about who I follow because who I'm following, their feed will be coming up across mine, and I'll be seeing that, feeding that, and if you somebody that I don't, if you're not talking about nothing and you just putting out a whole bunch of just foolishness and noise, I have muted people because I was just like, all they ever do is just post about stuff to stir up controversy in Christian hip hop, and for the sake of my peace, I was like, I can't, or else I might say something that God wouldn't allow. So
you know what? I pray that the A3C event happens next year. I pray it does because I thought the one last year was pretty dope. So we're going to start seeing a little bit. We're going to start seeing more of you. I just want you to understand that. I want you to know that. I want you to take that all in because when you're famous, when I ask for an interview, please don't send me to your manager. That's going to send me to a number like you got to fill out this form and you got to submit it. It's like, you know what? Artists do that.
Hey, if to the best of my abilities, the people that that I've been with on the ground floor, I would try so hard to always stay within reach. Obviously, as you elevate, I'll have to put more steps and some procedure just to keep me organized. But yeah. I don't want anyone to take it as I'm snubbing or thinking I'm too big or too good, because I'm very big on my word. So, and I'm very big about what I represent and what's attached to my name. So any kind of foolishness or kind of funny stuff going on, I don't like that.
And also, breaking news, DaShawn Shauntà said she's signed to Reach because she said she don't like to reach. So we just broke the news right here, Lucky Murray Christian Hip Hop Now, and I'm excited about this signing. Okay. Her and Wiley together. You see how I can pull stories? I'm good at what I do. I can pull stories and be talking about stuff like one day and DaShawn Shauntà. First of all, that rhymes, So.
Well, so speaking of which, at South by Southwest last year, I let her hear this song, and I was like, "Hey, yo, you want to get on this?" And she liked it. She got super busy afterwards, and me too. And it's still one that she was like, yeah, she was down to like jump on it. Who knows? Well, maybe that happened. Well, I don't know. We'll see.
You might
I am gonna say I don't think that I do want to say this. I'm not just gonna work with just anyone just because I get bigger. Like if your lifestyle that like contradicts what I'm like what I'm standing for, I don't care how many followers you have. Like I'm not, because it will conflict. So
what you're saying is you need to sit back and reflect on what you need to do, right?
Yes, and and I believe that God will, the ones that God has been real intentional with me. The doors of people that He wants me to work with, they're so easy. I'll walk right through. Like you, being real easy connected with you. The people that he does not really want me to build with, and sometimes I don't understand why when it first happens, but then stuff comes out and I'm like, I see why he didn't let me build with them, because they like to openly curse and do stuff, and I don't do that.
Yeah.
I see why God doesn't let that connect. So if God lets it happen, he'll work it out. But if he's like, and I'm having to push too hard, I usually back away from that. I do.
So you're saying that you're a humble beast. I'm trying. I'm just trying to,
they just signed with as a Antoine Bradford.
Yeah, I thought they was done as a label. I was real shocked. I was like, "Well, doggone, well, they signed somebody. I guess they wasn't."
No, we need good. I'm all for competition, but I'm all for good Christian competition. Like, good Christian competition. That's a nice way I'm gonna say it. Good Christian competition. Like, there's nothing wrong with hearing someone else's music and being inspired to want to create a good level of output and content too. Not to the point to where you down talk them or like trash talk them or like I want to be better, because that is an issue, is that some artists will not openly support you because they feel like, oh, they're gonna be bigger than me one day, or they can be bigger than me, or what if they outshine me? Man, it was never your shine to have anyway. It was never your glory to give. It was never your position to give. All of it comes from God. We're nothing more than a steward. Every single thing I have in my possession, I cannot take with me when I die. Yeah. I'm holding on to it. Same thing for anybody. Your fans, your streams, none of that belongs to you. When you die, somebody else don't have it. So if you holding on to it that tight, okay.
Hey, and we can all say this: God over money. We'll find out June 12th.
Hey man, pay your tithes. God over money. Pay your tithes.
Money. Hey, so we're gonna find out.
Shout out AI the Anomaly, man. Another female Christian rapper.
Hey, we gotta get back, you know what I'm saying, when everything calms down, and just talk about, you know what I'm saying, just it's so much that we can talk about, and it's like, man, like it's so little time. But I here's what I think. I just pray that one day we can chop it up, where we have the big boy camera set up and everything else, and we can kind of, evaluate some things. I do love those interviews. I think Zoom is cool. I like Zoom sometimes when it don't go out and you got to sit there and edit stuff so that way it can kind of be complete. But I think that as a body of Christ, we need to be together so that we can edify each other and we can encourage one another, and then we can build bridges. Because like you said, once artists, and I think that a lot of people are starting to realize that, but I do think that people do want to be the one that's famous. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think people still struggle with the fact that, oh man, like, I want to be an artist too, but your music popping on Pandora. It's like, she gonna outshine me. I'm like, man, but so what if they gonna outshine you? Because ultimately God is gonna get the shine. But I do think that God is bringing people from the kingdom to Christian hip hop that's going to elevate us to that next level. I think it's coming. I think that the people right now being weaved out that never belong with our community, because you're gonna start seeing a lot of stuff. And if you want to cuss, man, you want to cuss, but go ahead to the open mic and try to perform and watch them boo you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
well, the one thing I know is God's will be done. And so if he called you to do it and you don't do it, you're nothing special. He will replace you and get somebody else. So I'm kind of to the point to where if you don't really want to be a part of Christian hip hop, okay. I really pray that God raises up people that want and are open about, and I won't say proud, are happy and joyful about being a Christian hip hop artist. Hey. It doesn't mean that secular stations can't play your stuff, because this is why I look at it. The wealth of the wicked is laid up for the righteous. So if I don't care who plays it, because my content message is not going to change. It's not going to change. It's not. So, you know, wherever it reaches, wherever it goes, amen to that. Because, you know, you'll have some people say, oh, they're evil if they, you know. Now, I will say this: if my music does get synced to a TV show, and in the clip, if the clip has cursing in it or some kind of sexual graphic content, I'm gonna have to be like, yeah, I'm sorry, man, I can't share that. I'll tweet you and say, hey, thank you for the sync, but I'm not gonna openly share a clip that has, you know, cursing and a bunch of sexual, you know. I'm sorry. It's just not me. I'm sorry.
We be reaching, man. You have people play like hell. You know, I agree with you. I do not want to hear 29 in the love of basketball scene. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like, you know.
Well, I mean, you're right. I mean, I have no control over people put my music, you know, and you know, if they do it, hey, okay, thank you. But I mean, like, if they're like, hey, I did this, can you tweet this video out? And, you know, it's got you like using drugs, and I'm gonna just have to be like, not on my platform, because I don't encourage that. I don't do that. So I can't promote that. I don't care if it is a sync licensing deal, like, or, you know, if it is a sync thing, you know, I can't. It contradicts. And I got friends and family, people from my dad's church following me. You know, I can't tweet that out and then see you at church on Sunday and really feel like that they're gonna be okay with that, you know, and I'm gonna be okay with that. I just can't. So
I thought you were gonna be like, man, I got kids. I was about to say, oh, that'd have been funny.
No, just in me myself. Like, that's just,
yeah, I know.
There's enough of that in the world. Like, I'm trying to be different from that. So, you know, if you think that I'm gonna be promoting like super sexuality and stuff like that, you got the wrong person. My photo shoots, I'm not gonna be half naked. I gotta say, man, shout out Danielle Absella, shout out one day. I think these ladies, I watched the music video photo shoots. They still look dope and amazing, but they got their clothes on, and I was like, woo!
Yeah,
I champion that, man. I champion that. The music videos, their music videos are still good, dope content, and they are fully clothed and look amazing, and they look amazing, man. So I'm just like, and that just makes me excited. I was like, I hope people are seeing it can be done. Yeah. You don't have to just be objectified to a sex object.
One day, photo shoot. I have to admit, it was very well done. I love the photo shoot. I love the videos. You know what I'm saying? I definitely think I have an opinion on her album, and we can talk about this later. Not a bad album. Not a bad album. For me, I'm a singer. So if you gonna sing, it's like not saying Wanda's a bad singer. I think she can sing. It just, for me, I just felt like it was, when you're a singer, you have a vocal range, and if you depend, and after a while, your vocal range will sound the same if you don't have variety. No matter what type of music you're singing, especially if it's just like, to me, it's auto-tune heavy based, so your range is already limited. You know, unless you somehow can manipulate the auto-tune to go outside your range. A lot of times you can't, you know. So for me, the sounding wise, I would like to hear a lot more rapping than kind of singing. And that's just my personal opinion. I felt like with Reach Records, what it did was like, hey, look, this is what's popping. You can come, like, Wanda could come up with some melodies. I'm not gonna lie to you, I love her melodies, and I think they based it off of that versus what she naturally does best, which is rapping, and kind of had the singing more so as an addition to what she actually can do. Because if you listen to the Exit album, she only raps a few times. You know, most of it is singing, and then, you know, she has some bangers. She has some bangers. But that's just my opinion. I'm a singer type. When you say you can sing, I'm now putting on my R&B hat, and singing is like my first. I love singing. hip hop is like my second love, but singing is my first love. So I get really passionate about people who can sing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I, I think that like I remember a tweet that why not? She said that she liked the auto tune because it allowed her to be able to do more singing than she's been able to do before. So what it might be is maybe she knows she's a good rapper and she's like, well, I'd like to do more singing, but maybe I'm not as comfortable of doing it without, you know, auto tune. And so she's like, okay, well, I got the auto tune. I feel I can do it. So maybe, you know, she, you know, wanted to see, you know, put more singing in there because maybe that's been like a, you know, like a desire on her heart to do.
yeah.
And you know, the thing with her is I think that she is still, yeah, I think it takes a while for you to figure out, man, what direction you're really heading in and figuring out your sound. Or if you want to be someone that dibbles and dabbles in everything, like hashtag Drake. She,
He could do
I
that.
think, just saying, I think that she, shoot, I just think that she ultimately wants to put out music that glorifies God, music that people can nod their head to. She likes to dance. She's a natural dancer. So I think it's gonna make sense that she's gonna put out music that you know, that moves you, that you can move to. And so, you know, the melody trap, boppy stuff where you can, you know, move and do stuff too. That, you know, if that's how she feels, hey, that's how I can get that out and express that, that's what she's gonna do. She might do some, you know, you might see some more stuff where she's just straight rapping, or you might see her go through a phase where she prefers to do more auto-tune or a combination of both. I mean, you just never know, because a lot of times with these albums, they've been recorded like a year ago.
You're right. You are right about that. You're right about that. I just, you know, as me as a reviewer and a critic, you know what I'm saying? It's like I'm listening to it on that perspective. Now, on my artist side, I do think that I do like certain points of the album. I do like the growth of it. It's just for me, the singles that we fell in love with, well, when I say we, that we know Wande for, you know what I'm saying, the Bless Up records, the No Cap records, you know what I'm saying, the what's the
It's
record?
possible she was trying to show her, you know, versatility, because the one thing I think that you have to do early on in your artist phase is like, you almost have to show, like, you know, in a game of I use a metaphor like a game of poker, where you show your cards, you almost have to show everything in your deck first in the beginning, so that if they start to venture a different way, your fans don't go, why are you doing this? We want the old person. So I think if she wants to be singing and rapping, it's in her best interest to do both, starting off in the beginning, so fans know her and say, oh, Wande might put out a track where she's singing, she might put out a track where she's rapping, or might be a combination of both. If she just did straight rap, and then the next album it was just straight singing, I guarantee somebody's gonna be like, why is Wande changing? What happened? Why don't we go back to the old? You know how fans do, they like have a heart attack if you're not being the same artist you were when they like found you or something like that. They think that you're like changing and going through like a, I don't know, midlife crisis. So if she wants to be able to be versatile and continue to do, and then she even had like, you know, like the Afrobeat stuff in there, good. Put it all, make it as diverse, in my opinion, as possible. So if you keep on building on doing stuff, you can always be like, well, I'm just doing what I've been doing. Because if you just try to do, I'm trying to think of somebody, like Social Club Misfit, when they were their first stuff before they got signed was, I would say maybe more, I'm trying to think of it. It's still hip hop, but maybe more like trap hip hop. Yeah. But then after they got signed with Capitol, it started to push more towards the CNM blend hip hop type thing. And I remember their first EP they released, fans were like at them. They were like, we want the old Social Club Misfit. I mean, like, they literally were like mad that their EP with Capitol, their first one, didn't sound like the music they had been putting out before. And Social Club was like, y'all, we're artists, we grow, we're putting out music that we want. This is the frame that we're in the space that we're in, is the music that we're putting out. Artists go through seasons. They do. To think that the artist is gonna put out the exact same style every single season is so small-minded. And when you limit an artist to that type of delivery, man, you don't understand how much you're cutting off for yourself. So I appreciate and applaud the fact that she just and did that. And some of her songs has I think Nigerian in it. I don't know if she's saying the Wakande, but that's the one I like the most. I don't know how to pronounce all the stuff, but I try.
You know what? I was thinking, Sean, when I heard Wakande, I was like, you know what? I would love to hear on that record. She had Portia Love on there. I said, DaShawn Shauntà should have been on that record with her. I think the beat matched your style. You know what I'm saying? I think the beat matched your style, your flow, and I think that you could have. Yeah, what do you think? Hearing the record.
I'll tell you what. If she hits me up and she wants to add me on a remix, I'm definitely down for it. But the fact that she threw on another female, I'm gonna always applaud and upstand that. I ain't gonna, you're always going to hear songs that you go, oh man, I would love to get on that. I think I can murder that. But it might happen or I may not. So how artists see stuff differently in her head. So in her head, the sound that she heard, Portia might have been the best, but it could have been the voice that matched at the best. I don't know what's in her head. That's cool. That's that. But if she was like, oh yo, I want to hop on and do a remix or something like that. Heck yeah. But I'm telling you, I got a Afrobeat, a couple of them coming out. And I was actually telling my producer the other day, I just giggled. I said, dude, why they hears this? She might.
You know what?
I said she might. I said I could totally hear her being like, ooh, I said, because this is it. And if I'm using it, I don't want people to be like to attack me like Drake and be like, oh, you trying to steal people's code? Nothing like that. I literally like all types and styles of music, literally everything from rock to country to jazz and I have all those different styles and types of songs. So I'm not, opposed to if someone's like, oh man, I'm an Afrobeat artist, and they really got the song that goes with them, I'm like, oh yeah, man, hop on this, and I just do the hook and then let them do the I'm not opposed to that. I'm not, man. I'm not, yeah. If she's like, oh yeah, I'm down with that. It's just it's however God leads. I don't want nobody to ever feel pressure, or feel like that they got to do something just to make man happy. Like if your vision for it is the way that you put it out, then that's your vision.
And for me and DaShawn, you always have your artist hat on. It's all good. But I do understand what you're saying. And coming from that perspective, I can see. I thought it was a really good album. For me, I thought it was a good album. I mean, I had my quirks about it, but that was my personal opinion. It wasn't like something that I would have been like, nah, I'm not rocking with this at all. No, it was a good album. So man, we are going to do this again. And I know next time you're gonna do a song with Wande, and I'm trying to break something. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to craft in my brain what I'm going to write a rumor mill. DaShawn Shauntà said she was going. She took up for Wande. So she may have signed with Reach, but she was reflecting on her career, and then she's a humble beast. So it's all over the place. And she said God over money. So it's like, and then it's like,
man, I'm here. It's like I tweeted out, I'm here for anybody that's here for the kingdom.
Uh-oh.
I don't care if they Reach, God over money, 4 against 5. Shout out Stephen Malcolm. Ty Brazel, hey man, I like Ty. I love Ty because he always I know I'm gonna get God in his music. That's another person that I don't gotta worry about censoring. Shout out Ty Brazel, man. For real.
Yeah. Ty Brazel.
I like the 4 against 5 camp. And so when I think about it, there's really a lot of people that are doing good and doing good kingdom work. There's a couple, obviously, but there's always gonna be a couple.
Yeah, it's gonna be there's always gonna be a couple bad apples in the bunch, but you can't focus on the bad apples. You throw them out, and the rest of the apples are good, man. But DaShawn, thank you so much for this interview.
Yeah.
I usually don't take this much time with artists because at the same time they don't be talking about nothing. It's like after 20 minutes, they be like, yeah, I'm saying, like, my music is like, I'm just feeling like, and it's like after a while, I was like, oh, okay, well, let me cut this short because he ain't talking about nothing. But when you add value to an interview, even if we're not going to use all of it, the fact of the matter that you are on the trajectory up this way, and that's one reason why I started Christian hip hop now, was because I want to be a platform for artists like yourself and many more that do kingdom work and is serious about this, man, because lives are being changed for real. And you can play around with this if you want to, but
You're right.
I see for myself how Christian hip hop has literally saved me. And for me, I'm a singer, but I'm also a hip hopper. And I know that hip hoppers, we worship differently, we sound different, the beats are different. And I know how it feels when I put on my headphones and I listen to Go Hard by Lecrae. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel the same way as I'm listening to like a Mercy Me or a Elevation or a Hillsong. You know what I'm saying? Like, it radiates through my body the same way. So the work that you're doing is so needed because we are going to see in the next few years a rise of kingdom people for the kingdom side doing kingdom business.
And if we won't, he gonna raise up secular artists to do it. Chance, Kanye, that's just the beginning. That's just the beginning because time is running out. And God is like, all right, if my people don't want to boast and openly proclaim my name, he'll get a secular people to do it. He really will. And you know what? That just is what it is. So you got to pick. You either gonna be hot or cold. Like you either gonna like I'm rapping. God is my main focus. I'm gonna do this, or I'm just gonna be a rapper who maybe occasionally talks about God, or I honestly I consider myself to be both. I don't think there's anything wrong with being a Christian rapper and a rapper who's Christian. If someone asked me, I'd be like, yeah, I'm both. But I'm just saying, like, it just he's going to Kobe. I liked because I was like, I felt like he was being sincere, and people, we're just in a time where that depressing, I'm depressed, I need drugs type people ain't, they want something more. They want something real.
So yeah. So yeah, man. So like I said before, thank you so much for your time. I know you're a busy woman. You're planning your world tour. So when we talk again, just man, like I said, man, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I do know that great things are gonna happen. I'm thank you for the interviews that you did give me, and also the Twitter interactions, because I'm like, I want to DaShawn don't think I'm crazy, but I'm like, you kind of know my personality, because a lot of people, they can't read my personality through a text message, and for me, I'm like, I'm gonna still be myself, but I don't want to seem weird. But I thank you for that, because you're engaged and you're always insightful. You're always like, if you tweet at you tweet back. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah, I'm a human being. Y'all are human beings too. I mean, I'm not too big. I'm just the vessel.
Hey, if people don't know, they don't know that you actually have a how you look, because all your album covers, your face ain't on them. I think you maybe have one that your face is kind of strictly on them.
But if you go to my Spotify or my SoundCloud, I got
it on your face. Yeah. And then the picture is like it's like your legs and your torso, and that's it.
To be honest with you, I like kind of mysterious angles, because I'm kind of like Gazelle, and like, hey, you want to know who I am, listen to the music. And I'll be real honest with you, I don't mind doing interviews with you, but there will probably be people like, yeah, I want to do an interview with you, and I'll probably be like,
Gotcha. See, you know
I
what?
don't know.
Sure.
I don't think that I'll just do an interview with anybody. Like, and I'm not. That's just being the honest truth, because some people are interviewing just to find something to, something to talk about, and then some people are just they're being genuine. So that's the truth. I may not always, because I like to have my private life. Not that so I'm trying to hide anything. I don't know. That's just kind of me. But I'm sure as I do more, I'll have pictures. Cause yeah, if some of them have never met me, they think DaShawn is a guy's name.
Yeah, I did at first. I was like, until somebody had to correct me on I remember that day. I was like, is he like I said, is they a rapper? They was like, DaShawn, dope rap, whatever. I said, okay, I'll check him out. Like, oh, and she's a girl. I said, oh.
And they don't say my last name right either. They say Shauntà. I've had two
like,
other interviews are like, they're like, oh, with DaShawn Shauntà. I'm like, oh man.
But Shauntà,
I always thought people know how to say Shauntà.
See,
it's Shauntà.
That's when people don't know hip hop history, because Shauntà was one of those names that is engraved in hip hop history. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of should know how to say. I don't know. I know how to say it. I'm just saying I know how to say it. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. Once I told them like, hey, it's Shauntà. And but who would? I can't think of. There's almost every artist probably has to tell people how to say their name. Wande, Paris, Carit.
I couldn't say Caris, whatever. I thought it was Caret.
I mean, everyone. A lot of people thought it was Paris Charish.
I thought so too.
I the last time I talked to me, like, man, they thought it was Charish. I was like,
I think the way people get crazy with the spelling of the name. We'll talk about that's a whole nother topic. Spelling of your name. Like, I cannot Google your name if you have a 3, 5, and 6 in your name. Like, that's not gonna happen. I cannot find you with a 3 and a 5 and a 6 in your name. The 5 is for the S, the 6 is for the B, or whatever it is. And I'm just exaggerating, but I've not seen people.
Hey, I try. I just I went with my birth name. My parents are quite pleased.
You know what?
That I went with my name.
I'm glad so too. Funny story, and then we'll wrap up the interview. I had Lucky on my name. Lucky my nickname, but I had Lucky on my name tag when I used to work in college at a grocery store in college. This dude looked me dead in my name tag. The grocery store is a chain out here. The tags used to be this big. He looked at my name tag and said, hey, hello there, Licky. I said, what?
Licky.
I said, oh, I ain't never been called Licky in my life. But we're going to, hey, man, I keep saying, man. I mean, you know what I'm talking about, DaShawn. It's it's not like that. I'm just like, man, but it's like a figurative of speech. But Shauntà, it was awesome interviewing you. Like I said, I'm going to chop this up. I'm probably going to do it in bits and pieces because some of the audio start freezing up on us. But we got plenty of great content that you was scolding Christian hip hop. So my news tag is like the Christian rapper scolds Christian rap. It's like
no, I'm not scolding anybody, man. No. I'm just prayerful for him. I don't want any new